lad, how are you? I've heard you have been to Heidelberg.
Yes, and I should have stayed there. It was raining, it was cold, and in here it's just too hot. I feel like I'm melting. And speaking of the weather, today I'm going to talk about the summer solstice.
Yes. I don't care about that. Have you brought me any gift?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. Here.
You brought anything for us too, sir?
Of course, chocolates. Here you go. Wait, that's not chocolate.
Hey, so, how do I look?
You should wear it from now on. So, in my absence, was everything alright in here?
Oh, yes. I took care of them.
They were starving.
I fed the fish.
I don't have any fish.
And the meat is gone.
You drink so much, your brain is pickled in meat by now.
You silly boy.
Alright, vacations are over, let's go back to work. Hello friends, my name is Ari Thurger and today I'm going to talk about Litha and the Midsummerblót. So this is the feast of the sun at the 21st of June. Some people call it Midsummer, and to the Christians it's St. John's Day, but suffice to say this is the summer solstice. And people still celebrate this festivity nowadays, but with a lot of Christian influences. But of course our ancestors have been celebrating the summer solstice for millennia. So these are the longer days of the year, but not the hottest. Although I am in a place right now where it's too hot for my taste. And hot there, everything is burning. Unfortunately, literally burning. Anyway, the nights are shorter and brighter, and if you can go into a wild place without the lights of the city completely ruining the scenery, you can see that the sky is brighter and you can see a lot of stars and even the Milky Way. Our ancestors used to make huge bonfires during this time of the year, and they would dance around them and even jump over them as a test of courage and adulthood. And if you have seen my previous videos about the pagan festivities throughout the year, you will notice that our ancestors used to make huge bonfires in every festivity. And it's completely normal, because fire was the most important element to our ancestors. It gave heat during the harsh cold winter times, and it was the only light in dark times, and it also gave the possibility to cook food. So our ancestors would praise fire almost as a living creature, a very dangerous, almost uncontrollable creature, but also a very useful ally. And since this is the feast of the sun, it's only right that people would praise fire. This is also the time to shear sheep, and wool is a very useful material to make any kind of cloth to wear during winter. And the sheep will thank us for doing that, because poor things, no one wants to wear a woolen coat during the hot summer days. But this is also the time for the reaping of the crops, which would ensure the survival of our ancestors by storing food for the next harsh seasons of autumn and winter. This festival was really popular in ancient times, and as I've said before, the coming of the sun and brighter days really gave happiness and strength to our ancestors, because surviving winter was very hard, and summer really was the glorious season of all, because only the strongest would survive winter, and being able to see another summer and to enjoy the natural world once again really gave a sentiment of victory after all those trials of winter. So this is the fire season, the time to honor the element of fire. And fire is deadly dangerous, but it's also an useful ally for the reasons I've just told you. And maybe nowadays we do not give the proper value to fire, but we have to honor our ancestors, and we have to think that back then it was really hard to survive during winter, and fire was one of the few things our ancestors had to ensure their survival. So during this time, Litha or summer solstice, Midsummer, St. John's Day, whatever you want to call it, this is the time to honor the element of fire. So now let's talk about this festivity for the Northern European countries. Midsummerblót is the Northern European pagan tradition held during this time. But it's not just to celebrate the coming of the sun and brighter days or the reaping of the crops. It's also to honor, to worship fire and the Nordic sun goddess Suna or Sol. Although some people say that Sol is the mother of Suna, but that matters little during this time. What is important is that this is the time to honor and to worship the sun goddess and all the gods related with fire. To the northern peoples of Europe, the coming of the sun and warmer days really was the coming of happiness and hope, because in Northern Europe, winter is longer and colder, and surviving it really was a trial of strength and courage. And it proved that hard work was the key to survival, storing food for this great winter battle of man versus nature, trapped at home under the snow with fire as the only ally to keep them warm and alive. During this festivity, the Midsummerblót, it's also important to honor the landvættir, the spirits of the land, and they can be the spirits that take care of the crops or take care of the soils, the spirits that help mortals taking care of the fields and helping establishing order and harmony in the land and making sure that the fruits and vegetables grow. Or they can be the spirits of the ancestors of someone whose land belonged to, still around to ensure the survival of the family and their descendants, giving them the opportunity to have rich and fertile soils. But about the landvættir I will talk about in another video, because honoring them really is much more complex than this, and there are celebrations just for them. So this is the time to worship the Nordic goddess of the sun, Suna or Sol. And it is interesting, it is curious to see that the English word for the sun comes from the goddess Suna, and the Norwegian and Swedish words for the sun is Sol, and it comes from the goddess Sol. And even in Portugal and Spain, the name for the astral king is also Sol. But you have to take in mind that to our northern European ancestors, the sun was female, and to our southern European ancestors, the sun is male. But this only happened when our southern European ancestors were Romanized, and afterwards they were Christianized, because before that they used to worship a sun goddess from the Chalcolithic all the way to the Iron Age when they were Romanized. So maybe this is not curious at all, because the sun or fire was one of the most worshipped elements in the world. So it's only obvious that the deities of the sun have the same or similar names. Fire has always fascinated man, and this element has always been represented in every celebration throughout the year, whether in a bonfire or a candle or just symbolically. And even nowadays, there are still people who celebrate the summer solstice in a way trying to bring back all the feelings, all the emotions our ancestors felt during this time. So worshipping fire during this time of the year is also worshipping our ancestors. So that's it, friends. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I wish you good celebrations. And it doesn't matter what religion you have. What matters is that you never forget your ancestors and your roots. So whatever it is you are celebrating this time, please try not to forget your ancestors and your roots, your traditions. Somehow try to include them in your celebrations. All the links to my social media are down below at the description. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next video, and tack for idag! So this helmet is gone for good. because there is no more glue in my eyebrows and I can't possibly hold them there. So this hat helps me to keep them in there.
Yes, it was about bloody time.